Welcome to Run Jump Stomp. This week we're going to talk about Spock, Dragon Fantasy, Sonic the Hedgehog, as well as Half-Life 3, and even throw the long play and wish listed in there. It's March 3rd, 2015. Thanks for listening. So I know that this is a gaming podcast and this isn't actually gaming news, but the idea that Leonard Nimoy died actually had me thinking about the Star Trek games that I've played. And I don't know if it was the best Star Trek game that I played, but the one that I think I have the biggest or maybe fondest memory of is probably Star Trek 25th Anniversary Edition. It was an adventure, like a point-and-click adventure kind of game, and I remember sitting in my friend's basement, and we would sit there and play the game together, and we would say, oh, try and click here, and try and click over there, and what if we use this item with that thing? I did a quick Google search, and I found out that you can actually download the game on a website called Abandanonia. I'll make sure that there's a link in the show notes for you. It was produced by Interplay in 1992, and it was I don't remember if it's a really good game, but I just remember having a lot of fun with it. I don't know if it's legal to download it from there. I assume because it's abandonware that you can. I tried to find a place to buy it, like Green Man Gaming or something like that, but I couldn't find anything. So, if you have not played that game, and you can find a way to check it out and see if it's something you'll enjoy. Last week I talked about Pokemon Shuffle. That's a match 3 game for the 3DS. It's a free-to-play game with in-app purchases. I don't find the in-app purchases to be particularly, what's the word I'm thinking? Obtrusive. I don't find them to be particularly obtrusive. Let's see if I can get those words out. Apparently, I am in the minority. A lot of people find them so obtrusive that on a single-player game where there's absolutely no competitiveness, they've decided that they absolutely must use some kind of exploit to get around it so that they can catch them all. So there's the tagline for the show, you gotta catch them all. I guess some people really do have to catch them all. I won't go into the way that you actually can do it. If you're the kind of person who is interested in that kind of thing, I'm sure you can find it on your own. I just don't see the appeal to cheating at a video game. I would think that it would take the fun out of playing the game, but that's just me. Dragon Fantasy, which is a RPG that I've had on the iOS for, I'm not sure, quite a long time. I never really got too far on it, mostly because when I try and play games on my phone, I usually get distracted by something else, and I never get around to it. It's kind of like Dragon Quest, but with a lot more humor thrown in. Things like the main character is an old washed-up knight who's out of shape, and he's not very good at his job, and the monsters that you fight, when they attack you, they usually have humorous things that they say on the bottom. Usually it's a typical RPG style. You're walking around and then you get pulled into turn-based battle where you can't see your character but you see the enemy in front of you. Well, that game is coming to the 3DS and Wii U this year. I'm pretty excited about that because having it on a dedicated console means that I will probably spend more time with it. Coming to a Nintendo console, I fully expect the price to go up. I can't remember how much it is on iOS, but I'm going to say very cheap. My guess is probably $1 to $2. On the 3DS, it's probably going to be at a minimum of $7. But for a game that has that kind of humor, I'm willing to pay more, and I'll probably get it on the 3DS rather than the Wii U, just because I'd like to see how they make the 3D look on this two-dimensional game. Some of the really best ways to show off the 3D on a 3DS is to play the 3D classics like Kid Icarus. It looks really cool when the foreground really pops out from the background. Anyway, so if you are interested in RPGs for the 3DS, look forward to Dragon Fantasy. It's supposed to be pretty great. What is probably the biggest news in video games this week is that Sega is looking to exit the console video game market. Sega Sammy Holdings, which is the parent company that controls Sega, is going to be changing their structure and business operations, and it looks like they're going to focus more on online PC games and not focus on console games. That being said, somebody from the Sonic team have said that they're going to continue working on Sonic games for console, so I'm a little confused. Are they just going to let them be spun off as a separate arm of the company, or are they selling the Sonic team to somebody else? Right now, I have no idea. I really hope that the Sonic team gets purchased by somebody who is really good at preserving franchises, possibly Nintendo. Although if I had a time machine and went back and told my 8-year-old self, well, 8 years old, I'm not sure how old I would be at the time when Sonic came out, but if I were to go back in time and tell that me, hey, at some point you're going to wish that Nintendo bought Sega, or not Sega, but Sonic, then I would not believe what I was saying. A couple of weeks ago, there was an auction where somebody was trying to buy the limited edition original color PlayStation 4, and the anonymous auction, the person who bought it anonymously backed out at the last minute, and Sony got a lot of good PR by not only paying for the auction, but also doubling what the person had agreed to pay. It looks like all that PR is going to get washed up because they accidentally erased their list of the PS4 winners. They had a competition where people would buy a PS4 or a PSP or some other Sony product like that, PlayStation product, and you would have a code that would let you enter into a contest. Well, apparently they had a list of winners, and they lost the list. I'm not sure how they didn't have that backed up, but they have offered their deepest apologies. This is translated by Kotaku, and it was from the Sony website. It says, "Our deepest apologies for the trouble we have caused to those who entered the previous campaign." They lost it, and now what they're saying is they're going to start the contest over. However, if you don't have your code anymore, then there still is a way to enter the contest, and that's by looking at the serial number on your PlayStation device, and I guess there's a website where you can go and sign up for the contest. Let's hope that they get this smoother the second time around. So apparently there's a million rumors about Valve releasing or announcing Half-Life 3 during GDC this week. I don't think that's going to happen for a couple reasons. First off, GDC is a place where it's a conference for developers. It's not a good place for them to announce a new game. It's a good place for them to announce something like Steam or Steam Broadcasting, or their new VR headset that they talked about, or unveil the final design of their controller, which apparently is supposed to happen. But I don't think it's a good place for them to announce a new game. That's the first reason. The second reason I don't think that's going to happen is because there is absolutely so much hype around the Half-Life franchise that I think that the only thing it can do is let us down. I don't think it could ever live up to the hype. And I think Valve is perfectly fine working on Portal 3 or Left 4 Dead 3, I guess. I'm not sure how many of those there were. But I don't think we're ever going to see Half-Life 3. I hope I'm wrong, and I hope that if I am wrong, I hope the game is awesome. But I just don't see them making that game. So there's a game that used to be on the eShop for the Wii U called Meme Run. If you look at it on YouTube, then you'll see how horrible the game actually looks. I don't know who they're trying to appeal to, but it certainly wasn't me, so I didn't buy it. Apparently, Nintendo has now removed Meme Run from the eShop, and you can't post on the Miiverse page anymore either. People are rejoicing that they've taken this apparently really bad game off of the eShop, but I don't really get how that's a win for anybody. If you didn't like the game, or if you didn't think the game was a good game, then just don't buy it. There are thousands of terrible games on Steam. I'm glad that they're there because somebody might like them, and I don't see the reason to take it down. Hopefully, Nintendo will change their mind, put the game back up, because the more games that are on the shop, the better. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, well, we want quality over quantity. And I agree. I would prefer quality over quantity. But taking down a game just because it's not very good isn't something that I support. I think that they should just leave it up there, and if nobody buys it, then nobody buys it. What do you guys think? Do you think Meme Run should be taken off of the Wii Shop? If you think so, let me know why. You can always get a hold of me at RunJumpStomp on Twitter and runjumpstomp@gmail.com. So, earlier this week, Unreal 4 game engine was released for free for everybody, where you would actually pay for support, I guess, if you were a developer that was making enough money to make it worth your while to pay for support. And it looks like in response, Unity 5, which is another game development engine, is also going to be released for a full-featured free version. It looks like there'll probably be two versions of it, of course. One where you are making a lot of money on it so you can afford to buy the extras, and another one for small teams or even single people to make games for. I find this to be very, very exciting, especially the Unity 5. Not that I have anything against the Unreal Engine, but I know that Unity is on all kinds of platforms. It's on, I think you can run Unity games on iOS. You can run them on a PC, definitely. I know that you can also... Last year, Nintendo said that they were going to be supporting Unity engine on the Wii U. So, it looks like with all of these engines being free, we might get some really great stuff from indie developers that we might not have otherwise gotten. The cost of many development platforms is pretty high, I would think. As it should be. It's professional software, but the guys behind Unity and Unreal it looks like they're banking on the fact that the big studios are going to use their stuff no matter what, and they'll pay for the extras. And then the small guys will use their stuff because it's free, and they'll get hooked on it. Almost like Microsoft having a student version of Office for college students, getting people used to using the Microsoft Office suite of tools, and then later on, when they are in business, that's where they gravitate towards, because that's what they learned on. I'm pretty excited about this. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think it's a good idea for Unity and Unreal to now be free? This week on the long play, I started a new game. Well, not a new game, but a game that's new to me. A friend of mine bought me Grim Fandango, which I never played back when it first came out. It's been sitting in my library for probably 3 or 4 weeks, and I finally decided to try it out. And man, oh man, that game is charming. The voice acting is very, very funny. I have not played a point-and-click adventure in a very long time, and I am really enjoying that game. If you don't have Grim Fandango, or if you have not tried it, I definitely recommend that you check it out. You can find it at Green Man Gaming, as I'm sure you can also find it other places. But it's a really fun game. They updated the graphics. It looks like not that they look nicer, but they don't look all pixelated and washed out on 1080p monitor when you're playing. So there's that. On top of which the audio just really holds up, and the voice acting is hilarious, and the music is also really, really good. So definitely check out Grim Fandango. And that's the long play for this week. Now it's time for Wish Listed. This is where I talk about a game that is on my wish list, something that I'm looking forward to, or just really, really want to get. And today it's going to be Shovel Knight. Shovel Knight is a throwback game. It looks like 8-bit style but graphics, but it doesn't, from what I've heard, it doesn't restrict itself by those graphics. It's difficult to describe. Basically, it reminds me of DuckTales for the NES, which was one of my favorite games growing up. The reason I haven't bought it yet is because it's in all the different platforms, and I'm having trouble deciding where I should get it. It's on the PC, on Steam, and I have it on my wish list there, of course. But it's also on the Wii U and the 3DS. Now, my gut instinct is to get it on the PC, because then I'll have it forever. Even if Nintendo brings out new hardware, maybe it won't run my old games, so then I would lose it. But on the PC, on Steam, if I buy it, it's mine, and I always have it. If I get it on the Wii, well, then I could play it in the living room, and that's definitely an added benefit. Plus, other people could also play it. At the same time, I also am interested in getting it for the 3DS because of the 3D. Where would you buy it? That's the question I'm asking today. Would you get it on the PC, on Steam, or on the Wii U, or on the 3DS? Let me know on the Twitters. That's at RunJumpStomp, or you can email me, runjumpstomp@gmail.com. If you want to add to the conversation, please feel free to email me. You can send me emails at runjumpstomp@gmail.com. You can always find me on Twitter at runjumpstomp. Music is Tell Me by Nils 505 Fesk, and you can find the link to that in the show notes. Thanks for listening to Run, Jump, Stomp.